Students at the University of North Carolina were singing the national anthem as they raised the American flag again. Anti-Israel protesters had taken it down and replaced it with a Palestinian flag. Fox News correspondent CB Cotton is at Columbia University. CB.
Hi, Harris. Well, New York City Mayor Eric Adams using some of the harshest language yet to describe the ongoing protests which have erupted across the country in response to those who say, hey, these are just students protesting here at Columbia. He says there were outside agitators who influenced and co-opted the entire operation. Take a look. Columbia issued a shelter in place for students just before 8:30 local time last night, and the mass arrest began about an hour later. Droves of officers in riot gear entered the campus and moved past makeshift barricades created by those student protesters. The students were taken into custody with zip ties and led out to correctional buses. The NYPD says in the days leading up to the overnight chaos, even as Columbia locked down access, people still got onto campus who should not have been.
Last week, there was the wife of somebody who had been convicted for material support to terrorism on campus, and we have no evidence of any criminal wrongdoing on her part. But that's not somebody who I would want necessarily influencing my child if I were a parent of somebody at Columbia.
Columbia leadership asking for the NYPD's help, writing in part, quote, "We believe that while the group who broke into the building includes students, it is led by individuals who are not affiliated with the university. The individuals who have occupied Hamilton Hall have vandalized university property and are trespassing."
As per City College to leave the campus. If you refuse to leave, you may be placed under arrest.
And just before midnight, this was the scene at another campus where anti-Israel protesters over at City College of New York set off flares before officers moved in to clear out an encampment there. Harris, arrest totals are still being finalized between both campuses, but we're told it's going to be nearly 300 people who were taken into custody. Columbia says the students who occupied Hamilton Hall face expulsion. Back to you.
Wow, that's going to be a career disruptor for those who are seniors. Thank you. Universities can no longer ignore the truth. You and I have been focused on it on this program from the very first tents that popped up for the protesters and lawbreakers among them, the Occupy College campuses. University of Texas is now saying of the nearly 80 protesters arrested there earlier this week, more than half of them had no connection to the school. The New York Police Department released this video of one of those, what they call professional agitators at Columbia University.
Israel is a terrorist! They're trying to document them being...
A woman widely identified as the nation's best-known protest consultant. She was instructing the anti-Israel mob as they took over Columbia's Hamilton Hall. That's the same building officers took back last night. They crawled in through a window to go get him. A lot of it you could see. Just watch it live. Here's New York City Mayor Eric Adams today.
This is a global problem. Young people are being influenced by those who are professionals at radicalizing our children. And I'm not going to allow that to happen. We knew and we saw that there were those who were never concerned about free speech. They were concerned about chaos. It was about external actors hijacking peaceful protests and influence students to escalate. There's nothing peaceful about barricading buildings, destroying property, or dismantling security cameras.
In focus now, Noah Lederman, freshman at Columbia University. Noah, I understand you witnessed the people who took over Hamilton Hall. Tell us what happened.
Yes, good morning, and thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
I was on campus until 5 a.m. The night of the takeover and siege of Hamilton Hall. And I'll say that it was one of the most terrifying nights of my life and certainly of this year.
So what exactly did they do? And you just probably could hear, I would imagine you could hear Mayor Eric Adams of New York City saying there were agitators and people who came in from outside the campus, that they weren't all students. What did you see?
So I had gotten back from a dinner earlier that night, and I was walking in the park towards south on Broadway when I got alerts on my phone saying that Hamilton Hall had been taken over. So I went to campus to go see what was going on, and I saw students climbing through windows from the street into campus because the gates were locked down. I saw students taking over the building. I saw students climbing in windows and creating sort of a rope pulley system to get other things, food items into the building.
Wow. Did you get the sense that most of them were students, or did you see some people that you thought, now they don't belong on campus?
I honestly have no idea how many were students and how many were not students. I have to believe that the majority were students, the vast majority were students, because it is so hard to get on campus right now. It's difficult even for students to get on campus. Oftentimes, I'm given a hard time when I show my ID. It's a very difficult process to get on campus.
One last question about that, and we'll move on to the next. You know, from the moment the tents went up, they seem to have some uniformity about them, even in other places where we'd see tents popping up on other campuses. Was there ever any discussion that you're aware of that maybe there was some money flowing to make some of this happen?
I've heard discussion, none of it necessarily substantial, but I've heard discussion that it's all coming from SJP, even though SJP has been disbanded. That they're receiving their money from international or national organizations.
Wow. Okay. The New York Post cover says Columbia should get a failing grade for how it's handled all of this. One editorial board points out the difference in tactics that we are watching. They call it a tale of three universities. Northwestern appeases its protesters. Florida enforces the rules. Columbia is a mess. Well, and they needed so much help. Hundreds of police officers from different precincts all over to try to break up what was going on at that building on Columbia last night. Another piece from them as well says America's new mob rule, the left increasingly resorts to fomenting disorder to get in its way. The New York Post is asking where, and this is their language, where the hell are the parents of those deluded Columbia students chanting about attacking Jews? Former Education Secretary Bill Bennett was on the program yesterday with me, and he called out university leaders.
Act as if you are in charge. It is your university. You don't have to negotiate with them about what investments to make. That's not their job. That's not your job to meet that demand. This is, I'm afraid, the legacy of many years of neglecting what was going on in our universities.
You know, there has been a buildup to this, Noah, and what I love and appreciate about talking to you is that you're just starting your career as a college student. So all of this is new to you. What are your impressions as you show up? I'm sure this wasn't in the admissions pamphlet that they were having some problems.
Certainly not. I'll say that this has been a year unlike any other, and that I don't see how I can continue my next 3 years here without thinking about this. And I've seen so much of the student body either just be purely apathetic or even be on the wrong side. And I just don't know how I can move past that and live a normal college life.
Will you move? Will you go to a different school?
No, absolutely not. I think that to move would be to let those who are trying to force terror and fear into the student body to win, and I don't believe in that.
Listen to you, a freshman and already wise. I pray that you stay safe and all of those who are under threat at your university. Noah, thank you very much.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.